Hi there, it's Dave here from MusicEdNet, and I'm just going to go through a little playback problem that you may come across in the NoteFlight online music notation application. So I'll demonstrate it now. What's going to happen is when I click on the play button up here in my NoteFlight score that I have open, it will attempt to play back, but then nothing will happen and it will exit out of playback mode. I'll just show that once again. Tries to play, nothing happens, exits out. So it's a frustrating thing when this happens to you the first time and you don't know what's going on, because it seems quite obscure, like there's a bug or something like that. But what is actually going on is that nothing is activated for playback in the score at the time. So I'm going to click this little button here and scroll all the way down to sound near the bottom of the list, and I'm just going to click next to sound on the left, and that will reveal these three options in the toolbar up the top. Okay, so I'll hide that list, and here they are. So if I show the mixer now, what we get is the metronome, of course, which is always present, and the acoustic guitar, which is the only instrument in this particular score. And you'll see over here, these are what you can consider the solo and mute buttons in NoteFlight. Rather than solo, you might call it activate or something like that, but nothing is nothing is selected for activation at the moment. But now that I've clicked to tick the acoustic guitar, if I play it back now, so that's what's going on. Somehow these have all been switched off. So if I actually try to recreate that situation here in the mixer though, you'll see that I can't. So if I start with these two options ticked, and I try to untick one and then untick the other, NoteFlight tries to be a bit clever by stopping you from doing that in the mixer view, because it thinks if you untick that, we're going to recreate the same problem. So it leaves you wondering, well, how did I ever create the problem in the first place? Well, there's a couple of ways it can happen. One is the simple scenario where if I untick the acoustic guitar, and let's say I just want to sight read this with the metronome and play it back like that, so we're only hearing the metronome at the moment, being the only one active. If I try and turn that off here, it won't let me, because it overrides the function when there's only one thing active in the score. But over here, if I turn the metronome off in the toolbar, then it will actually blank out everything, and we recreate the same problem if I click play again. Okay, so we've now got the same issue occurring. So that's one way that it can happen. Another way is if I add another part to this score. Let's try banjo. Okay, so now I've got another line. I might add some notes to that. Okay, so that's all playing correctly at the moment. You can see our parts are both active. If I go back into the mixer, not to be confused with parts view, but the banjo is active, the acoustic guitar is active, so that is something that can be a bit confusing if you're looking at parts view by comparison. That's just whether or not we're showing these parts in the score, but over here in the mixer view, this is whether or not these parts are going to play. Okay, so now we'll hear both of them if I click play. But what can happen here, if I turn off the acoustic guitar and I'm listening to the banjo, let's go back to the start, and I'll decide, no, I don't want that instrument in the score anymore, and I just click on the treble clef and hit delete on my keyboard to delete it, then look at what it's left us with over in the mixer. So once again, we've got a mixer with nothing selected for playback, and of course, once again, here is our playback problem. Okay, so if this ever occurs, just try to remember, if you can't see sound tools in the toolbar, click the little three-line button on the left, scroll down to sound, show all your sound options, click the mixer to show it, and make sure that something is actually ticked for playback in here. So when you've been deleting instruments from your score, that's probably the most common occurrence where this problem will emerge, and it will only be happening in this one score, and your other ones will play back okay, so you're just left wondering what's going on.